Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Seso. Here's a video here today. It's a brand new video, how to create your very own 2021 overlay for streams, and also have a nice little alert box kind of pop up as well in there as well. So hopefully right about here right now, I'll just kind of switch into a little kind of clip of me kind of like just doing whatever the hell I'm doing, and you guys can actually see the alert box kind of happen, how it's going to work, and how clean it is, how cool it is, and how awesome you can actually probably make your own stream look just a little more cool. So that's the point of here today's video. We're going to be using After Effects and Photoshop. We're going to be starting inside Photoshop and then moving into After Effects to later then put the actual overlay in together in Streamelements, because that's the thing we're going to be using for today's video. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you guys are new to the videos, be sure to leave a like, and if you guys like the video, don't forget to subscribe. Just saying, just like it's free. It's also like we can be friends. I mean, we're already friends, but like you get the point. But with that being said, yeah, let's get this thing going. Alright homies, let's start off with creating our basic static overlay within Photoshop. First, the document size you guys want to open up with is under File, New, and it is 1920 by 1080 with 300 resolution. Afterwards, you want to take your background layer and press Ctrl J. That way it'll make a duplicate. With your duplicate layer, change your color so that way you can see it over your white background. So by pressing Ctrl U on your keyboard, it brings up the hue and saturation table. That way, all you have to do now is lower your lightness down just a little bit so you can see your new rectangle being gray. This rectangle will be the mock-up for your webcam. Since the ratio of the document size is 1920 by 1080, most webcams are actually in that size. So all you have to do then is press Ctrl T to free transform and size down your webcam mock. Honestly, around this size is actually good enough because you can always shrink the scene to make it smaller, but you cannot actually make it bigger because it'll pixelate. Then all you guys need to do to actually make your webcam base is use the rectangle marquee tool, which is a shortcut M on your keyboard. Then simply make a rectangle matching your mock-up webcam box, while also making sure you give it enough height. You can then fill this in with a very dark color or even black by changing your foreground color to your preferred color and using the shortcut Alt and Backspace to quickly fill in that foreground color. Once you guys are done with that, you want to change your foreground color to your favorite color or whatever color you'd actually like. Using a new layer, you want to take the rectangle marquee tool once again and simply make a rectangle on the left hand side just long enough to fit your name or your logo inside, followed by using the Alt Backspace quick shortcut to fill it in once again. To make sure your box is perfectly matched with your base, you can also right click on your left layer box and clippy mask it to the base layer below it. Then all that is left is either to write or place your logo inside that box, as well as find a cool icon like a star or a crown to place on the base for your new subscribers or whatever you like to highlight. For me, I chose a star and a subtle color to act as a subscriber highlight. And I made sure I placed it generously on the right hand side with enough room to fit a 15 character max name without the name having to be super small. Then to finally finish, make one last rectangle that is pure black on the top right or the top left of your webcam box. Then when you lower the opacity, this will then be your subscriber count box. Using the crop tool, which is C on your keyboard, just shrink the canvas now to perfectly fit your new webcam, and it actually makes it a lot easier for us to work with inside After Effects. Now of course, be sure to name all of your layers as well as delete the gray box and your background so that way your background is transparent. Save your PSD, and you're now ready to jump right inside After Effects. Alright homies, let's get this thing going right here, right now. We're inside After Effects, and I want to quickly show you guys how to actually import your PSD we just created in Photoshop and put it inside here. So, you want to go to where it says File, of course, then you want to go to where it says Import, and then File once again, and I'm going to search for my PSD, just like so, Overlay, Import. Now, when this table pops up, you want to make sure your import kind is on retain layer sizes, as well as your editable layer styles is also selected, if in case you do have some, right? Press OK. And then under your project tab, you guys want to basically look for the one that says composition, and then double click on that one, double click on the word itself. Now, the composition itself or the layers themselves really don't matter. This is basically kind of like a housing of an idea to make sure we keep in the same ratio. So what I mean by that is, we want to select the first layer on your composition, hold shift and select the last layer. Everything in between will then be selected. We want to basically pre-comp this, so right click, pre-comp, just like so. We're going to call this overlay. And then realistically, this layer here, we're going to lock it. It's just going to basically be our, again, like our point of view to kind of understand where our rectangle is going to go, how it's going to leave, how it's going to look and feel. We're going to delete it and or remove it before we render it. So, okay, what we want to do is you want to make sure we click on the rectangle tool to get started, right? Now, the rectangle tool, you want to make sure you change your fill option. So if you want to change if your fill is not even on in the first place, but it has like a weird X through it, select the word fill itself. Then you want to select the second color fill, the solid fill color, press OK. Then actually change your color itself, you want to select the actual box itself, use the eyedropper tool right here, and then you can either select the kind of pink tone you want to use or the black or whatever kind of darker tone you want to use for your, whichever one you want to use, you basically select and go for. Honestly, if you're using more than one alert, let's say if you want to use this for new subscriber like I am, and you want to have another alert be for like followers, you can change the color around and make it look cool, right? But for me, I want to make it pink. Press OK. Now by default, I think your stroke is on. Select the word stroke itself, and then of course turn it off by using the first box that says none, right? Once you've done that, you press OK. Now your rectangle is ready to get rectangled, sure. If you want to zoom in, you can hold Alt and then just use your scroll wheel, just like so. Now with this, I'm going to zoom in nice and close, right? Take the rectangle tool, select, and kind of like, oh, I got it pretty perfect on the line the first try. Now, don't try to like squeeze it, make it perfect like this. Just give it, you can make it out the canvas just a little bit so you can have a little bit of room to fix it if you're wrong or whatnot, right? I'm gonna take the move tool or the selection tool, which is V on your keyboard, zoom in, and it was almost perfect. I'm like a pixel off, but right around here is where I wanna have it, just like so. Now it's actually perfect. And we're gonna actually go. So one thing I actually have not done yet is actually change your composition settings, which is the duration of the actual alert length. Now, somewhere around your timeline, right click, and I wanna use composition settings. We wanna change this where it says duration to 4 seconds, which happens to be 0, and then 0, 0, and then 0, 4, and then 0, 1. Of course, if you want it to be longer, you can of course make it longer, but I'm gonna kinda keep it at the 4-second mark. Press OK. Just like so. And then of course, if yours already is not 4 seconds, it'll shrink it and make it look good for you. Now, right here, we want to say 1 second. And this box here, we want to have this box be perfectly still at the 1 second mark, or be where it wants to be at 1 second. So I'm gonna press P on my keyboard on my shape layer, right? That'll give me the position tool, or the position, how do you say, the position settings, right? You'll see on the left of the position, you see a nice little keyframe box, kind of like a kind of stopwatch, right? If you select it, it'll add a keyframe. So if you dragged your little timeline kind of marker to 1 second, keyframed it, or press this little keyframe stopwatch, right? It'll give you that keyframe and say, hey, at 1 second, it's gonna be perfectly there. Then at 0, which is all the way at the left, right? We wanna take the shape, so we wanna click on the shape, hold shift, drag it all the way to the left, basically all the way outside of it, just like so. So then it'll actually automatically create a keyframe if you already made a keyframe before. So at 0 seconds, it'll be all the way to the left, and at 1 second, it'll be kind of like where we want to be in the middle, right? Which is perfect. So with this, the movement itself, you can see it's very kind of stagnant, kind of boring looking, and very just, not good. So we're gonna highlight these 2 keyframes, right click one of them, right, keyframe assistance, and we're gonna use the word easy ease. Now with easy ease, you'll see your keyframes turn to little hourglasses, right? You wanna click this little option right here, which is the graph editor. Then within the graph editor itself, we can just highlight these 2 keyframes right below by just selecting outside the canvas, selecting the actual 2 keyframes with these 2 things right here. Now the yellow will kind of pop up, these little yellow anchors and yellow kind of like handles. Take them and push them in just like so. How much doesn't quite matter, just kind of move them kind of halfway towards the middle anchor point here. Then if we're going to turn off graph editor, go back to the timeline, and if you press play, you'll see it and kind of feel it to be a little more smoother. And basically what that just did was mess around with the actual interaction between how long it takes to get from point A to point B. Moving them in makes it faster at the beginning, faster at the end. And if you want to move them sort of like in a way, or if you highlighted them and move this one all the way to the right, it'll be faster at the beginning and then way slower to close out. So at this time, it doesn't really quite matter where I put it, but for now, if you just push them in, it'll look good enough. You don't have to really think about it too much. So once you guys have that, perfect. I want to make a new text layer, just like so. Now this new text layer is going to basically be the either new subscriber, new follower, or whatever you want to have it be named, right? For me, I'm going to say new subscriber. Bring it down here. Now to put my little keyframe, I don't know, my anchor point in the middle, I'm going to right click the actual text itself, go to transform, and I'm going to use center anchor point in layer content, or Control Alt and Home for the shortcut. Once I've done that, I'm going to take this, hold shift, take the corner, hold shift, and just make it nice and big. That way the new subscriber kind of comes up and says, you know, pink comes in, the new subscriber wants to come in, and then the new subscriber will then pop up after this goes away. So with this right here, we want to position this. We're going to take this and select the actual text layer, press P on our keyboard for position again. Let's bring it to around, let's say 50 milliseconds, okay, which is the 50F, right? Keyframe the position just like so. Then let's go to where it says around 20 milliseconds and move this all the way outside just around here, like almost a little bit further than the actual word. So don't go like here, right? Don't go like right here. Go a little bit further out, okay? So of course, us making a keyframe at 50 milliseconds, it'll make another one at 20. So what's gonna happen here is it'll kind of come in kind of the same time as the pink, but just a little bit more delayed. Now it's gonna look a little bit better when we right click, or excuse me, highlight the keyframes, easy ease again, the graph editor, highlight, move in, it'll look a little bit better now. It's kind of just gonna be a nice and smooth little new subscriber coming in. And of course, we wanna make the new subscriber go out in a second. So we're gonna say, you know, this is perfect for us. That looks really good. Let's say I'm at 1 minute and 40 milliseconds right here, or not a minute, a second and 40 milliseconds, or 140. Let's just do that, right? At 140, we're gonna click on the position of the text once again, just like so. And then at 50, we'll say like, yeah, at 50, or like right between 50 and like 2 seconds, we're gonna make another keyframe, but by just taking it, taking the actual text layer itself, clicking on it, holding shift, and moving it all the way towards the right, basically moving it outside the actual canvas. So if I click it, just press play, you'll see, boom, it goes away. Excuse me, if I just click, it'll go away, and then right here, right around here, the new name will pop up, and then of course we're gonna let it kind of sit for about 1.5 seconds, or however long you want to personally make it sit. Like I said, I chose 4 seconds, but for me, right at the 50, 2 seconds, and how do you say, no, this is 3 seconds, so 350, right at 350, I'm gonna select my shape layer, keyframe the position, which is this additional keyframing little option right here by clicking this little thing right here, right? Go all the way out, just like so. Also, yeah, I don't think I actually mentioned that. To make a new keyframe, if you haven't like moved, you don't want to like move it first, because of course these keyframes here, the one that I'm adding in at 50 and the one I added in at 40 over here, you have to manually add, which is this little button right here. Hopefully you guys got that by looking, but I apologize for not saying that. So if I just move it all the way to the end of the keyframe, or all the way to the end of the timeline, click on the actual shape layer itself, hold shift, move it all the way out of the right. So what's gonna happen here is at 0, we're gonna be perfectly playing, boom, new subscriber, then it goes away, new name pops in, and then it goes away, and then that looks pretty good. It's a little bit too fast on that part, to be honest. So I'm gonna move this from like 50 to 40. So if I click and play, boom, kind of comes in, boom, name will pop up, and that's pretty perfect. So now that we have this, we're actually pretty much done, like, believe it or not. So this is, again, I said before, the overlay is not going to be here. So I'm going to basically take the eye and get rid of it. And that way it's only going to be this right here, which is perfect. And it's exactly what we need. So when we have this here, I think we're good to render. So to render this out, we're going to go to where it says composition, and then we're going to use add to media encoder Q, or Control-Alt-M for the shortcut. So I'm going to click on that. Now, when this table actually pops up, you're not going to have the WebM format that I want to basically be having you guys use. So you have to actually download that. So I'm going to put a description in the below. The link in the description down below for you guys to actually click it, download it, so you guys have the same preset that I do. For whatever reason you don't want to use that preset, you can use the H.264 option format if you can't have WebM work for you. But for me, we're going to click on where it says WebM format, just like so. Now for the WebM format render settings, we're going to take it where it says codec settings right here. We're going to change the method to constant to constrain quality. Take the bit rate and basically move it in between this kind of like middle right here and the end right here. So around 8,000 or so bit rate. And once we do that, we want to make sure we also select where it says include alpha channel, which will also make our overlay transparent, right? Which is what we want to do. And then use maximum render quality, also have that checked. And then simply press OK after you name it. Then once you guys rename it, you want to press OK, and then on the top right, there's a little play button. You want to click on that little play button, click on that, and it'll actually start rendering. So then we're going to take this render, and of course, I'm going to show you guys how to actually save your PSD as well. Take all this, put it inside Streamelements, put it together for you guys, and make it look freaking perfect for your actual streams. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump into Streamelements. All right, guys, so we are inside Streamelements.com. Of course, I logged in, and the first things you guys want to end up doing to get to my overlays and actually create your own overlay is go to my overlays on the left-hand side, and then select create blank overlay. And the first thing that's going to pop up is your overlay resolution. Now, you would think 1920 by 1080 is what we're actually going to be using. However, we want to drop down and use custom. So there's going to be a new width and height that we have to remember about 7 or so times in the entire video. So make sure whenever you find these, what we're going to find in a second, you remember it. So if I go back over here to my Photoshop, when we end up using the crop tool to size down to perfectly fit the actual overlay, we do kind of change the document size a little bit. So given that, if I go to File, Export, Save for Web, which is also a way to save your actual file, we of course going to save it as a PH24. You can then make sure you have the transparency box checked, and then if you of course want to save this, you should do so. But before you save it, look right here where it says width and height, 906 570. That's my width and my height that I have to remember, and make sure you guys remember, but I already have this saved, but 906 570 for me. So if I exit really quick, go over here for my width, 906. For my height, it's going to be 570. Press start, and now it's going to be a perfect document size for me to actually work in here. It's going to be super easy for us to import our overlay, especially our animation, to make sure it fits perfect. So if I go, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click this little button down here, go to static and custom, and add in an image. I'm going to select my image. Of course, you want to upload your image as well as your animation is first, of course, but for me, I already have it in here, so I'm going to press it and just click submit. Now for the size and position, I'm going to change this again to 906, 570 for me. Of course, there's going to be different. But for regardless, you guys probably get that by now. But I'm going to use layers and just change this to static overlay and just name everything. And then I can also just lock it because I'll never need to worry about this ever again. So next up is actually adding in the alert. So I'm going to go to alerts. I'm going to go to alert box. And then the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to uncheck everything besides the abstract alert, subscriber alert. So of course, again, before I even do that, 906, 570. Then of course go back to settings. Now only thing I have checked is my subscriber alert. I can just click this cogwheel right here. And when I click this cogwheel, I'm going to change my video. Of course, this is when you're going to have your uploaded video in here. Press submit. Now I don't have any sound on my video, nor do I want an actual alert animation sound. So I'm going to clear my sound for now. But if you guys want one, sure, why not, right? So the layout, you want to choose text over image is the first one. Then the alert message, we don't need to say just subscribe. So we're going to get rid of that. The alert duration, since my alert duration is 4 seconds, I'm going to use 4.01. If your alert duration is about 6 seconds or so, however you did it inside After Effects, it's going to be 6.001, right? That way it gives it a perfect enough time for the animation to actually completely finish. So I'm going to go to where it says variation settings next. Now with this is where you can realize that you have to also put this in over and over and over again if you guys want the same alert for your resubscribers, gifted, and community. Otherwise, you want to uncheck this right here, and that way it's only for new subscribers. But if you do want it to be resubscribers as well, or resubscribers, right, you have to click this cogwheel and do all these settings once again, just for future reference. But I don't want to do that for now. I just want it to be for new subscribers only. I'm going to uncheck that, drop this down, and then I'm going to go to where it says text settings. So for my text settings, I'm going to go as followed. I'm going to do no text shadow, so I'm going to take that off. Scroll back up, go to advanced. When I go here, I'm going to do animation on none. My color is going to be pure white, so I'm going to take this and move this all the way to the top left. Then I'm going to also, if I want to change my font, you can change it here, but I don't really want to. I like this font personally. Then I want to change my size to about 18. Then what I'm going to also do is I'm going to leave myself on advanced, but you see where it says -50. So to emulate or to preview, you go to emulate, click on it, subscriber event, and then press 1. So I'm going to just press 1 a few times. You can see there's no text here yet, but if I change this from -50 to 0, you'll see the text now at the top. But we want to basically move this all the way down here, and to do that, you can either just click this little up button here, go all the way and all the way. But realistically, you can just make an educated guess and just say, hey, I'm going to go by 400. If it's not close enough, right, let me just emulate again. Excuse me, if it's not close enough, right, I just go 500 this time. And now if it's closer, boom, I can just move this up a few times now that it's inside the box, just to perfectly match it right in the middle. And once I kind of get that, I'm going to say, hey, I think 509 is perfect for me. So once you use 509, you're good. So once you're done there, you can go back to your text settings and leave that out. Animation settings is next. So now we need animation appearance delay. So your delay, if you guys were to go into After Effects, not Premiere, if you guys go to After Effects, right, whenever your new subscriber text goes away. So for me, 1 second and about 40 milliseconds is where this personal one is when the text goes away. So that's when you put 1.4. But for me, I actually had this, of course, in another preview. For this duration, it's going to be actually 1.7 for me because that's when I did it the first time. So 1.7 is where I want to have it at. Then text disappearance offset, just put this to 0.01 or 0.02 for everyone, I think. Once you guys have done that, we'll emulate it again. What we should see is it kind of pop in right after this new subscriber goes away. Then it should go away just before the pink goes away. Perfect. So now what I can do is just click this button down here. I will then use the labels, subscriber, latest, and then latest subscriber. Put in my latest subscriber. So I'm going to just only use the name. So I'm going to delete everything else. Then I'll drag this down and put this right down here. I think this also has a shadow. So text settings, take off the shadow. Right, if of course you want to change the color and or the font, you can just click here and change the color and font. If you have the RGB code, you can put it in here as well. But for me, I'm perfectly fine. Go back over here, go to where it says labels, subscribers, total, and then subscriber count. Then I'll just drop this down, only want the count. For me, I have no subscribers on this personal Twitch account. I'm just gonna put 100 for a preview, right? Then I'll take this and move this inside here, just like so. So now if I were to emulate it, you would see the number, or excuse me, the name will change, the name will pop in, then of course then go away. So it's a nice, super seamless, clean look. Now, of course, you want to do is you want to save it, And a quick little pause, I almost forgot to mention, when you guys go to your layers, make sure your count and your name are both below your alert box. That way, the name and the actual number, or the number doesn't really count, but the name itself will not be over the alert animation. You want it to be under it. So make sure you guys move that there, press save, and then you're good to go. On to 2021 tutorial, just for whatever sake, press save. Now you want to, over here where it says copy URL, you want to click on that. And when you do that, you want to go to where it says your sources on your OBS, right click, add a browser source, and press OK. You're going to see a little thing pop up, it's fine. But I'm going to drag it over here. Again, your width and your height needs to, of course, match. So 906, 570 for me is what I need to have it at, right? Of course, you want to paste your URL in there now, press OK. Then, when you paste your URL, then you can press OK. Then you can see I have my little URL or my little overlay popping in here. I'll make it a little more bigger for you guys. So if I were to, again, test it or emulate it, right, for subscriber event 1, boom, you'll see it now. It looks really, really good. And it's as simple as that, as easy as that, and hopefully you guys understand it and can now do it and replicate it yourself. So that is actually the end of the video here today. So this is actually how to make yourself a really simple, clean little overlay. Of course, you can go even deeper, like I said before, and use a whole bunch of like different colors and different effects, even if you want to have things pop up. Whatever you kind of want to do, you could do in After Effects, re-render it, and then just use that new render as the other alert for other things. So with that being said, that's the end of the video here today. So hopefully guys, if you like the video, please leave a like on the video. Maybe sure to comment down anything you want to see me personally do on my channel. And if you guys are new to the videos, maybe subscribe. I have a lot of videos for creators as well as designers as well. Just some entertainment stuff. So if you guys enjoy that stuff, I would love to have you guys around. But for the most part, that's the end of the video here today. I'm gonna go eat, and my voice is completely shot, I think. But yeah, I love you guys. Talk to you guys later. Seso HQ out. You gotta keep smiling, stay positive, and stay
take a break, been a long day.
later. Much love, and enjoy your weekend.
Maybe help me spark the ideas. We got nowhere else to go. It's only up from there. I've been on my own, just running through the fields. Vivid for the ears. I know that's how they like. Yeah, I fantasize. Tell me that it's real when it's all said and done. I said it how I feel it. I let them hit the